What is going on YouTube? Hope everyone's day's going well. Yanni and Ted for free Tendies. Trying to get to you guys before the 49ers game kicks off because believe it or not, I'm sadly at the point where I am pretty excited to watch some 49ers preseason football. Looks like our stream is set up and we're ready to go here. Ted, how are you, my friend? What's going on in your world?
Having a really bad day, man, with the Chuba Hubbard news. The other day I was in the Domain Boys. They were doing a stream, and I was singing the praises of Chuba Hubbard with our show's logo
Mm-hmm.
in the chat. A disgusting, absolutely disgusting win for the Slappies there. The guys that were pulling up Brooks over Chuba for no discernible reason. They are just going to win by default. And little known fact, Yanni, did you know that the Panthers also practice next to an electrical substation and have also sustained a massive injury this year? They
Oh
do.
my god, that's so wild. So I did I have a because from school I had set this up. I have like a medical research channel on my chat GPT that's pretty good about like pull me sources, here's your medical, so because I had like access to crazy data banks through the university. So I asked it about the substation thing, and I was like, "Tell me, like, what does the medical literature say? Like, what is the firmest statement we can make?" And it is the most annoying response in the world. It was like, "There's strong evidence to suggest it can both weaken and strengthen ligaments and muscles. In some ways, it's used as a rehab thing, and in other ways, it has been shown to deteriorate muscle density and strength." So I got no helpful response whatsoever when I was trying to figure out like is there any medical backing to it? It's one of those things where there are certain doctors that are very adamant that this is a real thing and it's going on, and then there are other ones who say it's a conspiracy theory. I still don't know what to make of it. To me, though, when you see crazy a one in Ryan Pagnetti, right, the front office, the advanced analytics guy actually from the Eagles Super Bowl, when he drops a stat like the odds of the 49ers injuries by random chance are 1 in 41 million. Now, I did not go run those odds myself. I don't know what the base rate is. I don't know where he derived that statistic from. If that's accurate, when you get into the 1 in 41 million, I'm inclined to think there's a third variable besides random chance that we're not accounting for. I don't know what it is. I am not a scientist. I'm not a doctor. Um, but I'm very curious. Like again, you sort of faded that narrative that it's just sort of bullshit, but it's weird, right? Like it's getting weird. There's some level
I
where
I do think it is categorically bullshit.
okay,
Yes,
okay, yeah.
still.
So you're just not having it.
Well, here's the issue when that guy says the random chance for the 49ers is one in whatever number you said, 40 million, 40
One
billion,
in
doesn't matter.
41 million if it were just random injury rates, not specific injury rates.
Yeah, man, in every draft that you do an underdog, every permutation that there could possibly be or combination of players selected in this underdog draft right now is
Right.
like the same odds. Sometimes people just click the people they click, and that's what happens, right? And we don't go, I can't believe this unique permutation of this best ball draft. I think we're more likely to be Etsy witch cursed than we are for the substation to actually be
That's a
taking us
very
out.
interesting. So you think you think curses are more real than okay. So
Yes.
per indecent exposure. Shout out to indecent exposure. I have the most Hampton with Cook, then Barkley, then Devon Achane, then Derrick Henry. Um, who do I have the least of there? Derrick Henry, and Derrick Henry goes okay. Probably just load up on another Hampton share. It is my favorite combo here, and we're starting to run out of bites at the apple. I don't like that they both stack in the seventh round bye. I should have probably adjusted for that. But yeah, actually just talked with Indecent Exposure in the Discord. We are going to get him on here for an interview about his product, about his best ball. He is a best ball mania maxer. I'm always interested to hear what those people think. I'm trying to learn how they think as I try to get better at best ball here. Um, to remind the audience, I have never and will never claim to be a high achieving best ball manager. I want to be. I try to be. I'm a high achieving redraft manager. We do the best ball because it's more entertaining to watch than us sitting there talking for an hour a night. I'm trying to learn best ball, so any chance I have to pick someone's brain who's maxing BBM and making cool tools like this so we can track our exposures, I think that's a great opportunity. So I'm looking forward to seeing what he has to say. I do wish, though, I had paid more attention to the buys there because I was totally fine with taking a Barkley or an HN share. I probably just should have done it instead of the
Well,
double week seven buy.
Barkley tweaked his ankle today,
Yeah.
So I would be shocked to see him kind of fall down these boards a little bit. That's something that I would not be concerned about at all, though. And if anything, if you're interested in Barkley, you can get some unique combinations that probably weren't there before,
Yeah, yeah,
right?
yeah. Yeah, I'm generally not. I mean, we can certainly get into the two injuries. One, does Chuba Hubbard missing 4 weeks matter to me that much as far as the Brooks and Hubbard competition, even as like a huge Brooks bull who's been jamming them all summer? No, not really. My thesis with Chuba was not he's going to get injured and Brooks will take over. I mean, I guess maybe, right, if you feel like it cracks the door for Brooks more to look impressive in the preseason and then they decide, like, we're doing this now, we're going for the, I guess maybe in some sense in that way it would shift things. I don't really think it's that, and I don't really think Chuba's a player who needs a preseason. Like, he's a vet, he knows what he's doing. If he's healthy and full go at the start of the season, like, I don't think that fundamentally changes where I think they start the year off in terms of, workload split or whatever. I still expect Chuba to be the starter if he's healthy week one. So I don't really, I mean, that's not, if you were in on Chuba before, I don't think it should really change, except 2 to 4 weeks is like a higher grade hamstring strain. That just in general is a problem. More importantly, where that, actually, I'm curious. So what do you think of that, Ted? Because I know you're a big Chuba guy. You have a very high exposure before we get into my side of the hamstring wars.
Uh,
How does it affect how you view the backfield split, the player, Brooks drafting? What is your general take on all of it?
yeah, well, just for reference for anyone watching, I have 30% Chuba Hubbard in my portfolio. He is my second most drafted running back behind James Cook. I
Mm-hmm.
think I have 32 and a half James Cook, 30% Chuba Hubbard. I'll tell you why this concerns me. Dave Canales says MRI showed Chuba Hubbard has a hamstring injury and
Mm-hmm.
he'll be week to week. Canales feels confident he'll be ready for week one, but we're going to be smart about it,
Mm-hmm.
quote unquote, right? So to me, what I was drafting with Chuba Hubbard, what I was going for was the 24-25 season. I thought that Hubbard might mix in a little bit, but it would be like overwhelmingly Chuba, and he would play well, and just Brooks wouldn't, you know, he wouldn't be doing a time split or anything like that, right? But when he says we're going to be smart about it, to me, that stinks like a 50-50 timeshare to come out of the gate, right? Like, I think we're going to get into that gross stuff we had with Rico Dowdle last year. Remember that at the end of the season where it was like you get half of each player and it wasn't worth anything?
So
That's kind of where we're going towards, I think. Plus, on top of that, you have the re-injury risk, which for a hamstring, like, is,
yeah,
you
very
know,
real.
is the 49ers just drafted Mike Evans. We know about his hamstring, right? So that can pop up too.
Yep.
So now at cost, I feel like I'd rather draft. Like, if you just said 1-to-1, would you rather draft Brooks or Chuba at this time? I would rather draft Brooks now,
Yeah.
which is
So
disgusting to me because I thought that was such bad process. Guys who were just yanking him up over Chuba and said, "Well, I think Chuba sucks." I was like, "Well, you're stupid." But now it's like the math has changed. Where I'm like, "Gosh, well, that sucks. That sucks," and now that is the direction I would go. So I did some mocks today. I pulled up Brooks. It felt disgusting, but I am already preparing. And by the way, I feel terrible for anyone who is already drafted in their home league. You did the smart thing and you drafted Chuba at a reasonable price, and you just get screwed. That's why we in the free Tendies leagues don't do our drafts until
yep.
as late as possible.
Yep. Yeah. I mean, the smart thing in your opinion, the smart thing if you're a Chuba bull. But yeah, it is definitely weird. By the way, my start here. I'm not a big Chris Olave guy, but for some reason he's sliding toward the fourth round. Um, and again, this is going to link directly to our conversation about Jordan Tyson, which is for me because he was a huge guy of mine. I'll explain where I was going with him and where I'm at now and how I'm handling it. But if Chris Olave slides to the 3-4 turn, which I've gotten him multiple times here, so for whatever reason he is, if Jordan Tyson misses 6 to 8 games this year, and again, I'll explain why I now think that's on the table at some point. If that happens, Chris Olave is a top 8 receiver. So this goes from a guy that I was fading at cost, who was in my most overpriced players article. Actually, he made one of my 10 guys that I'm avoiding in the first 5 rounds based on multiple best case scenarios being baked in. Well, one of those best case scenarios may come to fruition before they even take a snap. So, in general, the way I'm playing it now is I am much more interested in Olave than I was before. Before, it was all 4 of these guys firmly. Rice, Igbuka, Smith, and Flowers I was comfortable with. McConkey, it was very close for me between Olave, and now I think I have to come back around down and be more in on him. Okay, so Jordan Tyson, I've written multiple like huge chunks about this guy this offseason. That was going to be one of my big things. I was comfortable chasing him all the way into the early sixth round. I believed based on talent, based on opportunity, based on offensive context. This was a dude who, okay, so we're not big DJ Moore drafters, but if we can stack him with Josh Allen, we will go ahead and take him there. Okay, there's the Q. So this is a guy who I've been chasing really aggressively up to like a 22% exposure, something like that in here. I prefer him to Brian Thomas Jr., Marvin Harrison Jr. I was taking him over over a lot of guys. What do you do now with the fact that a big part of that was like that his hamstring had held up to this point, and that was a big bullish thing for me. Hold on, let's see, what are we going to get here? Christian Watson or Parker Washington. I've been jamming so much Parker Washington. We'll see if he comes back to me. He may not, but we'll mix it up a little bit. I think they're actually kind of similar bets. So I do think I prefer Parker by a hair. I still have Christian ahead in my rankings. They're very close, though. We'll see if we can get him to come back. Normally, my favorite here is Jordan Tyson. But I think we now have to be, okay, so we don't get him to come back. That's okay. I'm okay with mixing in some Brian Thomas. That would be a jam for Jordan Tyson for me, had the news not broken the way it did today. Okay, do Brian Thomas Jr.
Yep, in my rankings, because I was drafting Brian Thomas before Jordan Tyson, and then I preferred Jordan Tyson to Parker Washington.
Yeah.
So like Tyson was the guy who was in between the Jacksonville wide receivers for me. Now with the hamstring news, it was a hamstring he struggled with in college as well, right? Now you have that same type of re-injury risk. Now I've moved Parker Washington up one spot. So now I prefer Parker Washington to Jordan Tyson.
Yep.
And the biggest make fun of the Parker Washington Bulls has the Jacksonville guys just right next to each other. I still prefer Brian Thomas, but now I can't even. Is it even a fade? Like, is that even a fade at that point? Like, if I don't just chase him up to like the mid.
Is what a fade on who?
Parker Washington.
Oh no, no. I think his. So I mean, again, right? This actually is perfect segue into what I'm saying. So what I was willing to do in drafts this year, if you end up at the 5-6, right? You started at the 1-2. So if you start at the 1-2, I'm going running back every time. And then I'll come around to the 3-4. If Jordan Love slides back, if Breece Hall or Josh Jacobs is there at the 3-4, I'll go robust running back. I don't care. And then I'll go anchor wide receiver there, right? So I might come out 2-2 or 3-1, especially for our free Tendies double flex leagues. What I had in mind that I was going to do is if this Christian Watson and Terry McLaurin and Mike Evans, those guys are all the way back to the mid to back fifth on Yahoo. Once those guys go, I was thinking like I would take Jordan Tyson and Parker Washington at the 5-6 turn and follow up my two running backs at the 3-4 turn with that. And that was going to be like my big goal to start with this year. So I think that's about as high as his ADP gets, is the late fifth on Yahoo or on your home league. So I don't see him going any higher. So if you have him as a mid six, you're not really fading him. You just have him at a different place in that tier, and that's fine. With Jordan Tyson, though, to me, I was willing to chase him up all the way to like pick 60. And I was telling people, I've said it in my articles, I've said it on here, this has been a multiple month progression with me. I was willing to try to acquire a 75% position in Jordan Tyson in the 7th round for redraft. I've done it with a bunch of rookies the last 2 years. It's gone really well for me. I was going to go right back in for another bite of the apple. And now it's just so hard because the only thing you could not see was a hamstring injury that's been going on for a year that pops up early. Hamstrings are an injury that scar up every single time it happens. So per indecent exposure, I draft a lot of Cortland Sutton, 19% Cortland Sutton in the 7th, 15% Tucker Kraft, 15% Jalen Warren. I am loving the camp reports on Sam Laporta. We're going to pull up Sam Laporta here to the back of the round and make sure we don't miss him. I think he's a dark horse QB1 or tight end 1 overall candidate this year. So we are not going to let that go. We're going to grab him. I usually go Chris Godwin in here, but I'm liking the Michael Wilson camp reports as well. We'll pull him up over. I have a lot of Alec Pierce, a lot of Cortland Sutton. We're going to pull up Michael Wilson and try to build a little position there.
Yeah,
Okay.
there's a contingent of the beat that is just kind of saying Michael Wilson is the guy down here. He looks like the wide receiver one.
Yeah, yeah. I was gonna take Tucker Kraft there because it opens up a Jordan Love double stack here on the after the long turn, but that's okay. I like this a lot. Maybe Goff slides back. I'll still stack Love with Watson. Okay, so what am I doing with Tyson now? I don't want to like it's such oh god Jordan Brooks at 77, yeah, he's flying up. It's the way that I think is in terms of ranges of outcomes and then the probability to hit the range of outcomes. I don't really think of like this guy's a smash and this guy's not. It's more like what am I being asked to pay for him? What do I think the odds are he hits his 95th percentile outcome? How many things am I prepaying? How many pre-priced in best case scenarios am I paying for? How many am I not paying for? Because that's what makes a good value to me. What's the discrepancy there, and should I go in and buy? Well, all of a sudden with Jordan Tyson, in my opinion, I'm not a doctor, but based on I draft a lot of injured players. It's something I keep up on pretty well. If he goes out and tweaks that thing in week 1 or 2, so one, he might be slow rolled for 2 or 3 weeks. I think that's on the board. But two, if he tweaks it again, he's going on IR. So at this point, we have a guy who's going to go on IR for 6 to 8 weeks after a potential 1 to 2 week slow roll if he tweaks it again, and he just tweaked it again already. And then they're saying not super serious. Well, he limped off the field. And based on what Jeff Mueller is saying, right, Dr. Mueller, the fantasy points doc, the fantasy doc, he's with Fantasy Points now. Based on what he's saying, like the way he limped off implies a pretty high grade hamstring, like more severe than a mild or a non-severe hamstring. So I'm thinking we're going to get a 2 to 4 week designation on this. They're going to try to ramp him up before the season. And then you're what? So I'm going to draft him as heavily as I was drafting him, and we're going to hope to God he doesn't crop up again, because if he does, he's going straight to IR. It's really tough. I would say for me, I'm still going to draft him in the 7th, but I'm not going to jam him in the 6th like I was planning to, and he's not going to be like a must draft for me the way he was. I'm going to mix in some Brian Thomas Jr. and Marvin Harrison Jr. at his price range, whereas like I preferred him way above those guys before. It's a bummer for me. It's a player that I truly love. Like I've watched hours of Jordan Tyson's college tape. I really thought he was going to come out on fire this year. Just kills me, but it's part of fantasy, and he's injury prone. We knew it going in. Anyone that's been drafting Jordan Tyson has been enjoying the injury discount, because he wouldn't be going there if he wasn't injury prone. You don't get to cry about it when it goes south. That is part of the risk reward of going in on a player like that.
I I don't
You know,
know. I think he was pretty fairly priced. Like,
yeah.
you think he would have been another 2 rounds more expensive in these drafts
I
if he
think
wasn't?
I think it would have been very similar to what we saw happen with Tetaroa, where Tetaroa was going like as high as 35 in high stakes. I think we would have seen something like that going on.
I thought we were getting back to normal with these rookie prices, but you're just telling me that everyone was putting a 4 round injury discount on it. That's a bummer. I
That's
thought
my
we were
opinion.
finally out of overpaying for unproven
Well,
rookies.
that's my opinion. It's far from a concrete statement. Okay, so we're gonna get two court. Mate, I much prefer Jared Goff to Jordan Love this year, but we can either get the Goff Laporta stack here or the Love Watson stack to back up Josh Allen. That is a very strong quarterback room. Pulling up Jordan Mason, wrote about him in my article. Gonna be one of my round 9 jams in redraft this year. Someone who I really I'm feeling so good about Mason as this thing goes, as you can see from Indecent Exposure. Shout out Indecent Exposure, 14% in the 10th round for me, and we do get Jared Goff. Let's go, dude. Oh, that feels so good. Okay, so I'm really, really happy with this roster. I love this start. Josh Allen, Jared Goff, James Cook, Omarion Hampton, Jordan Mason, Chris Olave, Christian Watson, Brian Thomas Jr., Michael Wilson, Sam Laporta. Totally could have been a cool roster to stack Shuck Tyson Olave on if Tyson was not dealing with issues.
I'm still concerned about the offensive environment of the Vikings.
Yeah.
So I'm probably not like, I'll still draft Jordan Mason, but I said it on the show the other day. Like I might just prefer Bill. Like I think that
I
those are
love
like
Bill.
comparable guys.
Yep,
Yeah.
I love the bet on Bill too, dude. I think that's a great bet. I think you should be doing that anyway.
We'll see with the tonsil injury. Like I wonder if that means more Rashad White, which would gross me out. But
There's some dude for I think Roto Baller maybe. They have boots on the ground there. Some camp reporter or beat writer. he said, in his opinion, just one guy sharing what he's seen in practice, they are running Bill like he's the clear cut one, but he thinks that White will be a full PPR scam this year. So I think that's a reasonable, like, that seems to me like that's how I would divvy up the backfield, right? Is like, you know, Bill's the much bigger guy. He had some good showings last year. He had some not so good. Um,
If it were up to me, I would just run my best. I would just use my best run.
yeah. You cut out. Are you there?
Is a football fan, is like catching a pass out of the backfield doesn't seem that hard to me. It seems like a very
Sorry, my mic just went out. It doesn't seem like a very difficult thing to do,
Yeah.
and I think that it's weird that there's like all of these running backs that are like viewed as like, oh well, he's not good in the passing game. Like, bro, it's not hard to catch that pass. It's just something I don't understand, right? Like when you say he's not a good run blocker, I get it, but like I guess we just assume that half of the guys in the league just have cinder blocks for hands that are incapable of catching a dump off.
I think it's a few things. I think one, you still do actually have to have a degree of like, see, I mean, there's a difference, right? A little bit of a difference between like short route running and a dump off. I think you sort of have to have like a degree of feel for space and timing, like as a run, even if you're coming out of the backfield, like, you know, how do you leverage, oh man, there goes, damn it, there goes Laporta right as, okay, so that Q sync thing, I need to give indecent exposure, that feedback. I'm going to take
refresh when that happens.
Yeah, I'm going to take Dejon Stribling here because I want a receiver badly. We can go second tight end, but we have Laporta. There's no big rush there. I kind of have continued to take Tyron Tracy Jr. He's someone who I'm really excited about because of the direction the news has gone. And if you want to draft like you're right, okay, there goes Mark Andrews anyway. I was going to say it would be tempting to take Mark Andrews. I am very interested by the news that Stowers is horrific so far, and they think it's going to be the Dallas Goedert show there at tight end. That, again, makes a guy that I was already aggressively in on even more. Okay, we have the double hero start. We have the third running back that I'm happy with. Oh, God. You know what? We're going to see what tight ends come around to us. We're going to take Tracy and continue with the... I do not like the trend of the Scattaboo news. I want to continue to make bets on Tyron Tracy. I think that's going to be another one of my big ones. Okay, so here's the team so far. I usually do go tight end in that range because I love Goddard so much, but there should be a decent guy that comes back. You can usually get a Juwan Johnson or a Brenton Strange back here, or we can punt like we've been doing and try to get a Barner. Dulcich, I think I'm chilling out on a little bit. Darren Waller now signed with the Panthers. It's interesting in the last round. But
R.I.P. Jatavian Sanders.
Jatavian Sanders. Yeah. But here's the team so far. The classic free Tendies double hero start. Chris Olave, Josh Allen, Watson, Brian Thomas, Laporta, Wilson, Mason, Goff, Stribling, Tracy. Very happy with that roster, especially because I'm over the moon about Goff and Laporta this year. I think that's a great add-on to Josh Allen. And I actually happen to believe that Josh Allen and James Cook is a stack you want to own this year because I think James Cook's passing role expands mightily.
Did you see his interview he had with, I think it was Theo Greminger, did an interview with James Cook?
No, I didn't see that. What did he say?
Yeah, he was asking him, he's like, yeah, so do you think that your role in the passing game is going to be increased?
Yeah.
And he said to be continued or whatever. He refused to answer, but he was smiling.
Yep.
He was smiling and laughing. I think that if you want to take something from that.
Yep. Atta boy Theo, getting your nose in there and getting us the answers we need, son. Yeah, that is. Yep. What did you make of, given his dubious history with rookie wide receivers? What did you make of Shanahan's response about Stribling? Did you see that clip?
I did not.
It was kind of a mixed bag. He goes, they said, what do you think of Dejon Stribling? And he goes, he looks good, but we need him to continue making the mistakes he's making in practice so we kind of know he's ready to roll. And that, you know, like obviously our offense, I say our like an ass, like I'm not on the team, but the 49ers offense, you know what, they've caused me enough suffering. I sort of feel like I'm, you know, have a right to say our, but anyway, our offense, the Shanahan offense asks so much of receivers between blocking obligations, between pre-snap motion, between like they have a lot of option type stuff where like if this then this, if A then B, if B then C, that these guys have to decipher on the fly. It's a little bit different than a lot of schemes. So, you know, to me, I took that as him saying like he's got a little bit to go in terms of like other obligations besides being a great catch point guy or a great athlete. But I still thought it was a little more encouraging. Okay, so we get one of our favorites back here, Brenton Strange, to pair with Laporta. Feel great about that. We can leave that room as is if we want. I'll take another one if not. I do want to throw a receiver on here. I have been taking some Jalen McMillan at price. Trey Harris is getting really good ink right now. That's interesting. I could reach up for Tesla, but that's like too high. That's too much of a reach. Omar Cooper was a guy I was jamming here, but the offseason has been horrific for him. So I'm probably cooling off a little bit on Omar Cooper Jr.
Join me in the 30% Jalen McMillan exposure club.
Yeah,
Get in there. Get in the trenches with me.
Yeah, yeah, I mean we can just throw him in there just in case. It just seems like such a better matter of process to take a first round rookie, but we'll take Jalen McMillan. I don't really feel. I still think Ted Hurst will ultimately be the X receiver there. Does it happen week one? I don't know, but McMillan's a good player. McMillan's an underrated talent, I think. Okay. So ideally I will do a Barner third tight end just because I think you're going to take flex scores from Barner this year. I think that much of him. Would be cool with a Jaden, a Dylan Sampson.
Well, the good news is if you're in on Cooper, he'll probably be available in the next round.
Yeah, I'll probably, if he comes back to me, I'll take him.
Oh, just kidding. He went 2 picks later.
Yeah, I don't.
I said that mean thing about him, but the next guy really wanted him. Travis Hunter drafted as well.
Yeah, I don't know. See, that's like a brutal turn. And what does he have? Let's see what weird running back hodgepodge. Oh, good. Oh, good. You could tell this guy's a thinker. Jonathan Taylor, Saquon Barkley, Josh Jacobs. Then, for good measure, 3 running backs in a row in the middle rounds where there's still ample wide receiver value there. And then another one, just because. But don't worry, he reinforced his room with an unstacked DJ Moore, a hamstring Jordan Tyson, a hamstring Mekhi Lemon, defensive back Travis Hunter, and apparently wide receiver 4 on the Jets, Omar Cooper Jr. Good work, dude. Oh my God! Is that a Caleb?
I probably would have made some different picks.
Is that a Caleb Johnson touchdown? No, it's some other number 35. Okay. All right. I thought that was Caleb Johnson about to score a touchdown on my screen in the year of our Lord 2026. I was going to be all excited. He looked like him. It's not him.
We are in preseason football, boys.
Yep.
Oh, Jordan Love actually got a drive. I didn't even notice that.
Yep.
The Niners aren't playing their starters, right?
I mean, I doubt most of them. Dude, their starters are so old. Probably not.
I was watching Grant and Larry today. Grant and Larry had their weekly show with Alex Boone, actually former guard of the 49ers.
Yeah.
All 3 of them were sitting in a call, and they were talking about the Nick Bosa knee thing. And Grant was talking about, I'm kind of concerned about Nick Bosa or whatever. We haven't seen him in 8 days. And Larry goes, no, that I think it's a complete farce what's happening. Basically, he thinks that Nick is just sitting out of like the practices because he wants more money. He's out of guarantees after this year. Yeah, wants to get extended, so he's just like kind of not practicing. And he's like, they probably just said like knee tendonitis so people aren't asking why he's not at practice. And then Boone goes, actually, you're probably right.
So
I take the former player.
Tank Dell or Terrence Ferguson here is actually a tough one for me because there are late receivers that I like. whereas Ferguson's the last tight end I like. What would you be going with here? Tank Dell. I have a really good tight end room, Laporta and Strange. I have a pretty good wide receiver room. I feel like I kind of need the wide receiver is why I'm asking.
You could go Tank, I guess. You can do that.
We'll get Tank. Yeah, and there goes Ferguson right after. Yep.
Dude, there's always a round 18 Jake Tonges just sitting there waiting for you.
No, I'm thinking a round 18 Waller.
Oh yeah, that is actually something that we should probably be considering as a fantasy community.
Just in case he, I don't know.
I completely trashed guys who were picking up Darren Waller last year, or spending any amount of fab on him.
I fab dumped on him, dude.
I thought that was the goofiest, dumbest way you could possibly spend fab. And I was like, well, I guess I was completely wrong about that. Like, we should have bet on the divorced rapper in his mid-30s coming off the couch, I guess.
So
to be a focal point of this offense.
So that wasn't even like oh man, I just know balls so well and I went on. It wasn't even that. Remember, I had 75% Kraft or Warren last year. So like once Kraft goes down and then once Warren goes down, 75% of my tight end rosters were streaming rosters. So at that point, yeah, I fab dumped on Waller in a few places, and it actually got a bunch of usable weeks out of him for a minute, and then, he dropped off. But
the fact you got anything from him is more than I expected.
Yeah.
So,
but not even that. Like he had like some tight end 1 weeks. I think he had like two tight end one spikes.
Yeah, I remember he had a good week, and then we argued on the show the next week about who were we starting, who were we sitting. And you were like insisting that we put him as a start. And I was just mad about it. I was like, no, we're not telling people to start Darren Waller.
Yeah. Sounds like, again, if the beat, damn it, there goes Keenan Allen. That's been a favorite of mine late. It sounds like if the beat is to be believed, the Patriots are going to release Kayshon Boutte. That makes him a very interesting pick this late because I think that's a pretty good football player. I think if he ends up going somewhere, he could make some noise. Like, I would actually be happy if the 49ers added him. I think they could use a field stretcher like that.
What's the idea there? Just doing right by him?
Well, I would
have an opportunity to pick where he wants to go.
I would actually assume so, yeah. But there's been a report that's the way it's going to go down. Okay.
I respect the Patriots if they do that because you're giving up like a asset that I think people would trade for.
Or they might. I mean, sometimes that gets out there, right? Fernando Mendoza is so cheap at this point, but I feel too good about the room. I'm just gonna let it auto Darren Waller because he's first in my queue. We'll see what comes back to us. Bang. Okay, first share.
Waller pick is so funny.
First share of Darren Waller is our tight end 3. Hey, dude, like to me though, I think Terrence Ferguson actually has a real shot at capturing the role. So that's like a little bit different of a bet, right? Caleb Williams, I still think will get traded. Caleb Douglas has been pumping as far as narratives. But I think we'll do a Keon Coleman stack with Josh Allen. He probably still catches some touchdowns this year, maybe breaks a long one or something. Just gives us at least one Josh stack outside of Cook. Okay, so the team, I'm actually very happy with this team. I love this team. Josh Allen, Jared Goff, James Cook, Omarion Hampton, Jordan Mason, Tyron Tracy Jr., Dylan Sampson, Chris Olave, Chris Watson, Brian Thomas Jr., Michael Wilson, Dejon Stribling, Jalen McMillan, Tank Dell, Keon Coleman, Laporta, Brenton Strange, Waller the Baller. First Darren Waller share acquired. Believe around pick 110. Probably like right 104. Yeah, right. Oh, hold on. So, yeah, so I took Mason after him, Manungai, White. So he slid back into that tier. Gainwell, Krosky Merritt. Really? Wow, that's quite a fade. I mean, yeah, I don't really know. Okay, so we're going to rip one more before me and Ted get ready to probably watch the 49ers have another Hall of Famer get stretchered off the field. Okay. So, before we get back to the NFL, I don't even like saying that as a joke. It's so upsetting. But dude, we're already like hemorrhaging dudes before we get in here. So, okay, yeah, I mean, my thing with the Chuba Hubbard Brooks, the reason I was just staying away as is was like I think you have to ask yourself, I don't know. To me, I thought that there was a huge chance that it just turns out to be a split. And if it turns out to be a split, I would rather the guy that's going to get some receiving work on like a team that hemorrhaged some points last year, and it seems like that will be Brooks, in my opinion. You could tell yourself a story with Hubbard that he would still get the goal line work and the early down work, and but then you have to ask like, well, if he doesn't get the volume, what is Hubbard? And I sort of thought, well, he was still a pretty explosive player in 24, so maybe he comes back in 26, fresh off the, doesn't have the high ankle this year, and like that's actually a way that he could have, if he gets two down work plus goal line work and he's pretty efficient on a per touch basis like he was in 24, Hubbard could have paid off at ADP even if Brooks stayed healthy all year and got the third down work. I still think there's like a pretty straightforward path to that happening. Pick 11 every time, man. Every time. I mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, yep. Corum, and Kyron, yeah. Oh, where is he? I didn't see him jump in. Oh, he's in at the Will. No, Wilsh. Oh, nice, nice. Yo, I'm at the 6. Update the app. Let's go. Okay. Yeah, indecent exposure. We gave you a shout out at the beginning, man. I'm glad you jumped in on this one. Very excited to do a sit down with you. We will track how his draft goes. Let's see. So he's a Jonathan Taylor. Oh, well, so Amon Ra went. Or would you be? That's actually interesting. Over JSN. I like that. Wait, am I gonna get JS? Okay, JSN goes there. Um. Ew. Yeah, that's a weird one. I'm just not a big Go ahead. That's what I mean. That's what I mean. It's weird, like atypical. So the Derrick Henry thing is making me incredibly bullish right now. I love the ink that he is getting and what they're saying they want to do with him. I've been drafting a lot of Chase Brown too, but more so in DraftKings I was taking my shares because of the full PPR. As you guys know, Kenneth, as you guy knows, Kenneth Walker is a full fade for me this year, so he's just off my board. We will mix in what I want with an Ashton Genty roster because I'm worried about a little bit of up and down with the offense. Is I want like a steady Eddie kind of guy. I think Derrick Henry is going to be good for 15 to 20 touchdowns this year. God, 2 week 13 buys. I really need to become a bye week, bro. I could have set that on indecent exposure too. What? Yep. Yep. That's what Vegas thinks. That's what Vegas thinks. But yeah, so we'll see how indecent exposure drafts. I like knowing that he is a Jonathan Taylor over JSN guy. I don't know if that is a diversity thing in the portfolio. If you actually think that, there's not a lot of hardcore best ball dudes that would make that pull. I agree with that pull in redraft. I think because in redraft, right, if you're in the 5 or 6 hole, you can come around and get one of those really premium wide receivers on the comeback. You can get Malik Neighbors, Drake London, or AJ Brown on the comeback. I would rather start Jonathan Taylor and Drake London over JSN and AJ Brown personally. And now that's a personal thing. I know a lot of guys wouldn't. That's how I feel. He gets Devon H and Jonathan Taylor. See, like, dude, that's a start you can get from the 6 hole if things fall correctly because AJ Brown goes up high. I think that's a fantastic start. We'll see who does a little better. We both went RB. I much prefer his start in Jonathan Taylor, Devon Achan. We will see if I can catch up. Yep. 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 Oh my God. Sorry to interrupt you, Ted. The man goes Ibuka on top of Taylor Achan. Dude, I am such a fan already. That is Ibuka is a big one of my guys, dude. Go ahead, finish your thought. I apologize. I got excited. So, yeah, 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 yeah. I have Walker as my RB12. I'm just taking all of the running backs ahead of him. I do really have, Henry was one obviously because of age. That was, oh my God, please set up the double Lamar correlation here if we can get it. Um, nope. Okay. We'll go lad, I guess. I'm really not actually the biggest lad bull in the world. I know kind of everyone is right now. I'm like okay with it, but I'm not the biggest lad guy. I think that offense is going to be slower paced and more run heavy than people think. I think Lad's going to have to rely on like outsized efficiency, like outlier efficiency for him to be what people are drafting him to be. And I don't really like making those types of bets where I have to. We just did a Josh Allen build, but he's there in the fourth round, dude. I kind of feel like I'm going to keep taking Josh Allen in the fourth round if he's there in the fourth round. I mean, that's a really hard like value proposition there for me to pass up. I think that's a wonderful start if you go anchor running back, C.D. Lamb, Chase Brown, Zay Flowers, Garrett Wilson. I'd like it better with the double running back start, but I still think that's really good. Um, yeah, yeah. Walker's a weird one. It makes me nervous to fade him in some sense, but I believe the figures are he hasn't been an RB1 since his rookie year. He hasn't eclipsed 200 points since 2022. The last time he tried to be a workhorse, he missed 6 or 7 games and went on IR. It's just going to be one that I understand it's risky. It's actually stomach turning to me to fade him to the degree that I am, but I just am. You kind of have to take some stances when you're doing this stuff. Um, yep. Montgomery, Montgomery and the Texans, ATN and the Saints. I'm just saying that. I'm not saying you forgot those. They just popped up while we were going. I mean, personally for me, again, it's so hard when you talk about like what does it mean? When like a multimillionaire in the fantasy industry like Scott Barrett comes out and goes, I'm telling you guys right now, oh my God, Mike Evans in the fifth with that start, Bijan, ETN, Rice, Collins, Evans. Good Lord. I blame you in decent exposure. You should have stopped him from getting there, bro. Scott Barrett was saying, I believe in the Debro Flag Plants episode, that he says he has, quote, the best sources a person could possibly have in Houston. And the word he got is that they are planning a Joe Mixon 2024 type year for Montgomery. I don't know whether that's true or not. I don't know whether he really has sources. He's a very public figure that is giving NFL front offices advice from his position. If he's making that up, I think that would be incredibly damaging to his brand and business. So I would assume if he's getting on a video and saying that, he's has some level of access there. Oh my God. Parker Washington that early. I was all excited to get a Parker Washington share. Yes. Yeah. Like someone's full of shit. Yeah. Someone's full of shit. Yeah. 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 Yep. Oh no, indecent exposure said, are we supposed to be able to hear Ted? Are you that quiet? He sounded pretty good in the mic check. I pumped up my thing with an audio filter. Is it down regulating Ted because of that? You also had to switch. You had to switch headphones in the beginning of this. Maybe it knocked off your headset, or your headphones died or whatever. Okay, we're gonna do. Yeah. Okay, we're gonna do Carnell Tate. I had been jamming Tyson there, but we do an Odunze Carnell Tate turn. That's okay. I'll adjust. I'll work on the audio, dude. Thanks for letting us know if it's that off. Um, really, really good, dude. Those are a bunch of my guys. That's cool. I'm actually stoked to hear that to see in action that we might be in on very similar dudes. To Egbuka, Taylor, Watson is such a great three, especially for best ball. Like, God, see what he follows it up with. If he gets Jordan Tyson on the injury discount, normally I would have taken Tyson where I took him, so you might get a good faller on Tyson. Nope. Might have been it, because sometimes it can change the input output. So, oh God, it totally blanked out, but there's me doing my thing. Say something. Oh. Okay, so indecent exposure, no, you are not. You are supposed to be able to hear Ted. You cannot hear Ted because his audio cut out when he had an issue earlier. That's what happened. Just checked on OBS. Oh, total rip then. When did that happen? That happened pretty early. So have I been sitting here? So anyone who just heard the podcast or just stopped by the podcast is probably thinking I sit here and talk to myself and like respond to the talking to myself because I've been like nodding along with you when you say stuff. It's very funny. Sure, I can hear you. It's been a great conversation on my end. I promise the viewers they've been missing some really insightful stuff that would have been worthwhile. Um, okay, does he go? Okay, so Tucker Craft already went. I was going to say Tucker Craft would be a good stack for indecent here. Um, yeah, probably got like the first 4 minutes of audio, and yeah, dude, that is so funny. You went out when your mic died. You went out. Jaden Reed. I'm not a Jaden Reed guy, but I get I see the vision there. I'm just not a Jaden Reed drafter. I've never been a Jaden Reed drafter. I don't know what it is about him that makes me uncomfortable, but he does. We're going to continue to build on our Sam Laporta position. I want to make sure I get some bags going on that before we go here. Almost Laporta time. No, it's not, buddy. Sorry, buddy. I sniped you. I sniped you big. I'm not a Josh Downs drafter. If you want a Josh Downs, you can have him. He's kind of cool. The fantasy community keeps telling me he's kind of cool. Yeah. Okay, like I said, we have a pretty big Alec Pierce position. We have a giant Chris Godwin position, but honestly, I feel great about that. Oh no for you, lol. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I normally take Kraft or Laporta here. I don't like this range of receiver as much. I really like Godwin. I actually think Alec Pierce is more than fairly priced for the contract they gave him in the role expansion. Godwin is typically my favorite. Yeah, maybe I don't mix it up. You got in my head now. No, we're gonna go Godwin again. You got in my head like I don't mix it up. The thing is, I love Baker. Baker's very back stackable, and I like the Godwin Baker stack is pretty cheap here. Yes, Kraft is off the board at 72. Although I do think they're pretty similar, like upside bets. Yeah. Yeah, no for you. Yeah, dude. So for redraft, Laporta is going to be a really big one for me. I don't know about in Yahoo. The Yahoo redraft has him pushed all the way up into the fifth round. That's a little bit too high. I promise you guys, Ted is saying really interesting stuff over here. Okay, J.K. Dobbins drafter for indecent. All right, all right. I don't mind a little J.K. Dobbins. I still don't know what the thesis is with Reed. Well, I do know what the thesis is. I just don't know if the Reed pick is for me. I feel like what you're hoping for when you make that pick is he's going to have, well, one, he has the most fantasy points per target of any player in the NFL since he came in, right? So you're chasing that. But they clearly don't want him playing in two wide receiver sets. It sounds like, if the practice reports are to be believed, that Golden is the X receiver there. They broke off Christian Watson like he's their move guy. I just don't know what that necessarily. I mean, I know Reed has been good when he's out there, but he's also very injury prone. He's a 3 wide receiver set guy. Is the volume going to be there? I don't know. I think for best ball, I get it, but he's not the kind of player I ever really draft. To be entirely honest with you. I have it on. I have it on next to me. Harold Fannin Jr. Harold Fannin's well priced. That was pretty good. I continue to make fun of the Jeremy Bernard guys. Yeah, man, that's just not going to be a type of pick I very often make. I'm just not doing it, dude. Okay, so a little bit of a tough choice here. Again, I when I did my Mason write-up, I got so excited about him, and I don't have a ton of him. Okay, so there he goes. So then it's Kenny Gainwell or Ja'Cory Krosky Merritt, but I can either go with a Jared Goff or Baker Mayfield here. Baker Mayfield is so much easier to stack late. So, and it looks like, oh no, so Jared Goff is still on the board, but I'm going to go Kenny Gainwell over JCM, even though I think JCM is probably, not even probably, I think he's more of an upside swing. Let's actually see. So I'm picking at 131. I can do a Cam Ward stack with Cardinal Tate. I don't really care about my second quarterback as much with Josh Allen. So I think yeah. I think okay, so there goes JCM, who I really wanted, but I think I am gonna go. I'm going to go in on a Cam Ward roster. So we get Wan'Dale Robinson and Carnell Tate. In decent exposure, if for some reason you're a big Cam Ward guy, please don't be. I'm going to take him at the next turn. Okay. Let's see what his roster's doing. Taylor, Achan, Egbuka, McLaurin, Watson, Daniels, Reed, Dobbins, Fannin. Excellent. Excellent build. Yeah, I get it. I get it. Not for me, but I certainly understand. I mean, dude, I think in general, right, when you're doing fantasy and you can make a binary decision like that, it's basically just, do you think he stays healthy? If yes, he's probably going to do really well. Like, that's probably a good bet to do. Okay, so the guy drafting next to me has Lamar. He's not going to take Cam Ward, so we can get Cam Ward on the comeback at 34 here at a little bit of a discount. Romeo Dobbs, one of my favorite picks on the board. I love the idea of slot usage. Romeo Dobbs, McDaniel's slot roll. Romeo Dobbs is awesome. Yeah. Yeah, well, I'm going to be upset if he does because I have Carnell Tate and Wandale Robinson, and then I can take a Gunnar Helm late too. I don't really do a lot of Cam Ward builds, but I feel like if you're going to do one, the Josh Allen roster is the one to do it with, you know? Yeah, we will see. I can continue with my, again, I kind of like, it's always annoying. Try to push love. We'll see. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, your roster would definitely dig some love. I'm not the like I think Love's a good QB2, you know, and I think like with a Jaden Daniels though, that's exactly what you want. I prefer Baker Mayfield and Shuck like in that range of QB2, but you have the double stack obviously. You're there you go. I can check after this. Yep. Ted's asking if you can hear him, but probably not. So do I. Baker is my highest exposure. Yeah, dude. I Baker like the Bucks in general and Baker as a bet is one that I've just gone so aggressively in on this year. You know what's funny is he's still there, and I so much prefer him to Cam Ward. We will forgo the double stack if Baker's there, because we still do have Kenny Gainwell and Chris Godwin. So yeah. Okay, another Baker Mayfield share. Yeah, I don't know if he's my can't hear. Okay, wait, can't hear me or can't hear Ted? Hold on. Okay, yeah, I'm coming through. My bar is totally on. It's your bar that is weird. Yeah, it's just Ted's headphones died. He's not going to be able to be heard. I just do think it's funny that I was talking to no one for days. uh, no, no. It is funny that. By the way, what is up with? Yeah, just Ted. Okay, what is up with Kincaid flying off boards? Kincaid is absolutely like to the moon in these rooms. I mean, again, I hate being boring and doing a very similar roster that we did last time. There's really good tight end value still on the board in Andrews, but I did take Laporta, and I feel like that's kind of you took your stand there. I want to keep building a little Tyron Tracy position. This is not someone I was taking earlier in the year, but I've really the news has only gone one direction in my opinion with Cam Scattaboo, and it's not good in my view. Good luck to his drafters. I still see him going as high as like 40, 42 in the high stakes that Theo Greminger's doing. Theo Greminger's huge on him. It's not going to be a pick for me. The guy who took likely, well, he went robust wide receiver. Williams, Tootin, Dowdle, Harvey, Mason, Mitchell. I mean, even that's like a little overkill. You probably could have cut it at five. Well, 5, 6. Yeah, it's okay. My problem is that I prefer Tyron Tracy at that range, and then I prefer Chris Rodriguez, who goes right around there. So I've just been taking two guys who like I think could carve out a really robust role this year. Whereas Keaton Mitchell, I think will have spike weeks, but I don't think Keaton Mitchell's. Yeah, then he gets his Mark Andrews. That would have been Mark Andrews for me if I didn't have Laporta. Um, Sucks to see him go, man. Excellent roster though, dude. Excellent roster. Fannin, Dobbs, Love, really good value there. Again, I'm not, I would have preferred like a Corum, a Manungai, or a Mason over a Dobbins, but I think Dobbins could be a league winner this year. Nothing wrong with taking that hack. 2% Scattaboo. Oh my god. Falling Andrews or Chig. Yeah, yeah, yeah. 2% Scattaboo. Good work, sir. That is fun. Dude, that's really interesting. I'm looking forward to having a conversation with you because it seems like we have very, very similar exposures. I remember when you first dropped in the stream, you said you were drafting an irresponsible amount of Mark Andrews. I absolutely am too. I'm seeing like the beat isn't really thrilled about Andrews. They're saying that he's like dropping some passes and stuff. I don't know, man. They broke him off like he's a starter. I think he's going to be the starter. Yeah. 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 But that's like a real, at tight end, like how many tight ends could catch 10 touchdowns, right? He's one of very few. Eight maybe, 10. Yeah. Yeah. They didn't, bro, they didn't just re-sign him. They like broke him off. I want to say, I don't remember the contract. I want to say it was 3 years, 40 million. So he has McMillan. Oh, he's a McMillan guy. All right. Taking a stack off me. All right. That sucks. Cam Ward is pretty good value back here. I like Juwan Johnson a lot just because I think he gets pretty good volume this year. Um, really like Tank Bigsby, but that's a lot of investment in the old. No, not with Allen. Not with Allen and Baker. I wouldn't go three quarterback. Um, we'll go Juwan there. We'll just finish the running back room here, and then we can transfer. We can just sit there and hammer wide receiver the whole way down because we'll be at 11, 16, right? 6, 11, 13, yeah, 14. Okay. Honestly, this is a roster where I could do Charbonnet, but I'm a little worried about the double. Well, the double buys in 13, actually. This would be a good one to do Charbs on. Could also go Juwan Jennings, but he goes there. Okay. Ryan Flournoy, no late stacks here. Okay, we're going to do RB5, Zach Charbonnet. Feel good about that with the double hero start. Yeah. Yeah. I've seen some people dropping in and out. Please understand there is someone talking to me who's on the other end of the call that I'm talking to. His mic died. Dude, yeah, like think about how funny that is. Cause like I threw it on Reddit, like pop in here if you want to ask questions about your rosters or whatever. Hopefully when I do I'm dropping our draft guide on Saturday morning. Hopefully when that comes out, like people want to, but it would be very funny if it's someone's first time checking it out and they just see me like having a conversation. I'm not talking to the camera. I'm talking with someone, but there's no one here. Very, very good turn there. I love the strange AJ Barner combo. That's one I have a lot. And decent exposure takes the falling quarterback value in Cam Ward. I probably should have taken the double stack, but to me, the Josh Allen thing is like you take it to not have to take the second quarterback. That's like a big reason why I like taking a Josh Allen. And then Baker Mayfield is like plenty of reinforcement for me. I think Cam has a decent year. Probably nothing crazy, but could see him having some Mondo weeks. I don't think Ridley is toast. I don't think Ridley's toast. No. Personally, I think Wandale Robinson leads the receiving core in targets this year. It's not the same thing as leading in fantasy points, right? Carnell Tate could certainly, he's a red zone target. He's a big play guy. Oh God, man, if you're placing bets, like if in full PPR, I believe that, that Wandale will lead the room in scoring this year. So, but I feel really good about his weapons. I think they're good. One of only 4 running backs in the NFL to, Mr. 140. One of very few guys in NFL history to get 140 targets in back-to-back seasons. He is, I believe, the wide receiver 3 in target earnings since 2024, behind only like Jamar Chase and Malik Neighbors on a per route basis. I think the weapons are very good. I think not very good. I think they're solid. I like Gunnar Helm. I do really like the receiving core actually overall. And then Tony Pollard is one of 4 running backs in the NFL. Ooh, and Dylan Sampson. Yeah, dude, we have very similar drafts. That's cool. Tony Pollard's one of only 2 running backs in the NFL with 4 straight 1,000-yard seasons. It's him and Derrick Henry. So I think all things considered, Cam Ward has a pretty good situation this year with an offensive coordinator I really trust and one of the best defensive minds of his generation, in my opinion, Robert Saleh. So, yeah, I think we're sitting pretty here. Oh my God, an uncorrelated Bryce Youngstack quarterback really ate it in this thing, like to an impressive degree. Yeah, well, I mean, people are thinking that he can get the, wide receiver 1 role because Rice is gimpy at the moment. But I do emphasize Rice is gimpy at the moment. Like he's recovering from a major surgery or a minor surgery. Like he's not at 100%, but I'm not fading. 19% Tony Pollard. Okay, that I think is wild. That we diverge on greatly. Yeah, like a hero RB or a 0 RB build, I understand a Tony Pollard pick, which maybe that's like what you're doing. That's when you're jamming him. But I don't really know what you win when you win with Tony. Like I think what do you get the RB24, you paid RB26 prices. I guess that is like a small win kind of thing. Okay, so we need receiver here because I said I was going to jam receiver after investing pretty heavily in the onesies and the top. We're going to go Pat Bryant. I love the coach speak about him, but I also don't trust Sean Payton as far as I can throw him. Sean Payton will say like, so-and-so is the centerpiece of my offense and he's the future of what we're doing here forever. And I absolutely love him and then just not use him. For the rest of the he's done that so many times to me in my life, but we'll pick our shots here. Yeah, Evan Ingram is the Joker. Evan Ingram is the next Michael Thomas. He does that stuff. So like when he says that we're never taking Pat Bryant off the field, I don't know how much that means, but it's certainly not nothing. It at least indicates to me that they're pretty excited. We don't know what the new OC and Davis Webb wants to do there. It is an open-ended question, like, does he see the game differently than Sean Payton? Is he a very big Pat Bryant guy? It's certainly possible. Oh my God, did Hurst go that quickly? He disappeared in my hand while I was moving him. Yep, Ted Hurst. All right. Hype for rookie Ted Hurst. Let's go. Kate Otten goes. That would have been a fun tight end 3 with Baker. It's a guy I think sees more volume here than the fantasy community treats it as. Keenan Allen, another favorite of mine late. He goes. No. Yeah. Ted from the Void is reporting Anthony Richardson first drive interception. When that guy came out and did his stupid rap career thing, I'm sure everyone saw that at like a gas station where they probably sell chicken. It's like one of those places like where people go to hang out on the weekends and like, kick it or whatever. And he did that rap video. I was like, oh man, it's done, dude. It's done. He should convert to tight end. He's a freak athlete. He's one of the great athletes. A good Jaden Blue slide for indecent exposure too. It gets the Calvin Ridley backstack. Yeah, man. Indecent, I certainly want... First of all, I want to know your name so I can stop saying a misdemeanor crime over and over and over on our chat. I sound like a creepy dude who's into stuff. So I do love the name, though. I think it's a great name for the product. I actually told my brother. I called my brother. I was like, dude, there's a guy who's doing draft exposures called Decent Exposure. Okay. I want a third tight end, so we will probably just let this thing auto a third tight end and then figure out what receiver we want here. Probably Rashad Bateman, if he's still there, is the right call. If not, we can go with a Keon Coleman again with our Josh Allen stack late. Not all value at home. Yeah, name's Nico. Nico, that's my little brother's name actually. Nico specifically. Nikko, not Nico. It's like we're Greek, so we do Nicholas. All right, Nico. I do love the name though. By the way, I'm just saying I keep repeatedly saying indecent exposure on the air. Fantastic, dude. And I'll read your draft off when we're done here. It was very fun to compete against you. I hope you compete in one of our redraft leagues this year. I always want the most competitive, most serious players we can get in there as possible because I want it to mean something when you say you took down a league in those leagues. So, Ted is saying that's why we should boot Kabir and add indecent exposure. It is Kabir won a title, dude. I don't know what to tell you. He drafted like a stooge. I think he was probably very not sober when he did that. But he did win there. Okay, so my team drafting against a stud as far as a dude who's in these trenches from what I can tell every day. Ashton Genty, Derrick Henry, Lad McConkey, Josh Allen, Roma Dunze, Carnell Tate, Laporta, Godwin, Gainwell, Robinson, Mayfield, Tracy, Juwan Johnson, Zach Charbonnet, Tank Dell, Pat Bryant, Evan Ingram, Rashad Bateman. Very, very happy with that roster. I would go to war with it any day. How does Indecent Exposure wrap up? Nico, if you will. Taylor, Achan, Egbuka, McLaurin, Watson, Daniels, Reed, Dobbins, Fannin Jr., Dobbs, Love, Andrews, McMillan, Ward, Sampson, Ridley, Blue, and Johnson. Yeah, dude. So very cool. We both started with the double hero. His wide receiver room's much better than mine. And then I don't know if the drop-off between Daniels and Allen is worth it for the reach. Do prefer my tight end room to his. Prefer my QB2 to his by a little bit, but he has Ward too. I think he probably edged me out on that one. But I do Dell and Bryan are such good values here. Yeah. All right. Very good matchup. Thank you for jumping in. And shout out to Indecent Exposure, tracking our rosters, our portfolios, everything from right here in the app. I don't know if he's on social media. I would advise people to check him out. Shows you where your combos are, who you're drafting where, what round. You can modify your anything. You can even do, there was a section in here that had like stacks for week 15, 16, 17 if you're like a Chess Liam guy and you're super into that. So thank you so much for drafting with us. Thank you for the free tool one last time. Shout out to Indecent Exposure. Thank you to anyone who stopped by and watched, even though Ted's microphone's dead and it was probably a pretty creepy podcast for a period of time. We are on Discord. We're on Substack. We are on our Yahoo leagues. We're going to open up to 20 leagues if our 15 leagues currently fill. They're actually about 75% filled and paid up. So check us out if you want to compete against us. If you think I draft badly, you can come take our money. If you're so inclined, please like the stream and subscribe. Stop by. We're going to be doing these drafts every night at 5 o'clock until we do all 15 or 16 or 20 free Tendies drafts over the last 2 weekends of draft season, where I'm going to be sitting here for like 10 straight hours, 4 days in a row like a total creep. So looking forward to it. I will see you guys then. Like I said, thank you so much. Please stop by again.